Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Buybox. It is 1 o'clock. It's Tuesday. I think it is. I've been out of the game for so long. I've kind of forgotten where we are. Well, it's good to be back. And today I'm joined by a very special guest. I'm joined by Emma Humphreys, who is a Amazon seller, veteran Amazon seller, been doing it a long time, content creator, and now brand new prep center owner. So welcome, Emma. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'm a bit better now, Natalie. I know you've been
Yes,
a bit
thank
poorly.
you. Yeah, thank you. I do appreciate it. It's been a long road, and I'm definitely not there. But I'm getting there for sure. Top tip from me today. Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. Top tip from me: when the doctor tells you something, don't ignore it. Listen to it. Listen to it. Listen to their advice for how long a recuperation is going to take for sure. Right, I'm just going to jump. I forgot to jump onto the comments, chit chatting beforehand. So, just wait for a few people to jump on. Guys, please welcome Emma in the comments. Let us know how you've been getting on. It feels an age since we've been here. I know Beyond the Buy Box has been going on whilst I've been away, but it's good to catch up with everyone, just see what's kind of going on, how everyone's feeling about stuff, because like I said, I've been out of the loop for a while. Been keeping in touch with a lot of you via Messenger and Facebook and things like that, and WhatsApp on all those different communication methods. So it's really good just to hear what people's thoughts are at the moment. I mean, obviously now, Emma, now that we'll go back in, we'll talk about you and how you've ended up where you are, and your Amazon journey and everything like that as well. But obviously now that you are dealing with a kind of customer or a service-based role, dealing with Amazon sellers, on a daily basis, what do you think the kind of vibe is at the moment? Because for me, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on how people kind of perceive the market a little bit at the moment.
I think it is a very mixed bag. It still excites me. I still love Amazon. I think a lot of people are the same. Sometimes though, you do just get stuck in a rut, and it's knowing where to go, where to take your business. I do think it's a very mixed bag. I still think there is a lot of potential there. Like you do with the bundles, it takes your business to a whole nother level,
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll come on and talk about that, because I know you've got previous experience when it comes to selling bundles as well. So it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that as well. We've got a few people have joined us. Welcome, everyone. We've got Damien. We've got Rosie. Still kind of hanging in there. Appreciate it. Good to see you up and about. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that, Jay. It's been a slow 7 days of sales, but it seems to be getting better now. Hi, Gareth. A few other people. Sean's joined us as well. Yeah, absolutely. It's I completely agree with what you say. It's a real mixed bag at the moment. And the trouble is, Easter falls a little bit differently this year. It's come a little bit earlier than expected. I mean, excuse me. It's funny. I picked my mum up this morning from hospital, and I had to drop into Sainsbury's to pick up a few things. And what I found really interesting, and this is the first time I've seen this, probably since before pre-COVID, was the shelves were full of Easter eggs, like full, absolutely full of Easter eggs. Whereas over the last couple of years, if you got to within 2 or 3 days of Easter, the shelves have kind of been stripped bare. So I don't know if Easter's taken people by surprise this year. I know Mother's Day did for a lot of people. The amount of people I said, it's Mother's Day on Sunday, and people are like, what? I don't know if you had the same. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Sorry. This session's going to be a little bit like this. Apologies, guys. Apologies, sorry. It's going to be one of those sessions. Apologies. Really excited to hear about Emma's journey. So while I recover from my choking fit, let me pass over to Emma. So Emma, if you wouldn't mind, for anyone that doesn't know you, obviously I know that you have your Facebook group and your YouTube channel. So hopefully most people will know who you are anyway. But for
Yeah.
those that don't, if you want to just kind of give us a brief history of Emma, what you've been doing and how you've got to where you are now, really up to probably about just before you started the prep center, that would be great.
Okay. So I'm Emma. I've been married nearly 25 years. I've got 3 grown-up children. And Amazon for me, it started as we actually got an accidental delivery from a previous business. And it sat in our garage for a long, long time. And then we actually got added to Matt's group by complete accident. We didn't know what Amazon was about. We didn't know what selling on Amazon was about. And more we looked into it. We were like, you know what? We got some stock. We can maybe see if this sells.
Yeah.
And it absolutely flew out. We made so much money. And then that's when we really started to look into it. We started to look into OA, RA. And we've been doing Amazon for 6-7 years now. So it
Wow.
started off literally, we can maybe make a few quid on this item, to learning, everything about Amazon. So I started with the content about 2 years ago, just uploading videos just to try and teach you the basics. I'm not saying I'm an expert, I know everything about Amazon, but it was, if you're a starter, this might help you, that might help you. And just the questions that I had early on that I didn't really know the answer to. And then I moved into more of the unique bundles about 18 months ago. And that's the majority of what I do. It is mainly that. And then, that's just kind of led us to the prep center, and it's just all gone from there.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes what can happen is you start out and you need to find your place in Amazon a little bit. I think, I always call it a really good gatekeeper business, in the sense that, or a stepping stone business, whatever you want to call it. And I always encourage people to do it, really experiment with things like all of the reselling options. Because I think nowadays, a lot more of it is accessible because of channels like yourself, software like, Matt has obviously created, and, courses and education and things like that. So a lot of that side of it has become a lot more accessible, and the opportunities become a lot more real for people. But I actually think you don't know which way you either want to go or don't want to go until you're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to test it. I really do think that makes a big difference for a lot of people. Some people love the reselling, the arbitrage side of it, but but they move very quickly into wholesale. Some people want to go into bundles. Some people, I'm fortunate to know, a good probably half a dozen sellers that are just exclusively retail arbitrage. So there's so many different options. We, of course, private label, all of the different areas that you can go into. And of course, it gives you a sort of flexibility, I think, and freedom to be able to see what kind of floats your boat. Because I think of all the different selling models, there is something for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you've got like that creative side of things, then obviously bundles are going to be more for you. If you prefer to look more at, the analytics of how something's selling, maybe the arbitrage side of things. If you're good at negotiating and building relationships, then maybe more the wholesale side of things as well. So there's lots of different options for everyone. And, I encourage people to test as much as possible to be able to do that. And we'll come on and talk about some of the services that can facilitate that. Prep Center is one of the big ones, for sure. When people are self-prepping, I don't think there's ever a bigger change in someone's business when they go from self-prep to outsourcing their prep. That's like the biggest transition I think anyone's going to see in their business. So we'll come on and talk about that. Rosie said really, really excited to hear about your journey, which is great. Lauren said, Emma, we've got some Emma fans in the house here. Lauren says Emma is amazing. Completely agree. Sean says, oh, local celebrity. Here we go. I met Emma in town and she came up to me out of the blue, gave her some drinks. Now it's her turn. Mine's a coffee. Well done. The prep center, by the way. Where did you see Sean?
Yeah, it was just quite local. Sean was in town local to me, and yeah, we bumped into each other, had a good chat for about an hour. My kids were still sat in the car waiting, but yeah,
Like,
we had a really,
Mum,
it was
where are
nice.
you?
Yeah. No, we had a good chat. It was nice to meet other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, it's never happened to me actually. I've never, ever, ever seen like anyone out or anything. I did in my previous business. Someone saw me in my previous business, but that's it. Who knows? One day, maybe. We've got Kieran Simona who've joined us. Hey, Simona, hope you're well. Haven't seen you in a while. So let's obviously you had your hand in selling, building the selling side of the business, enjoyed that. So what was that moment? I'm always curious when it comes to people opening prep centers and prep and everything like that. So what was it? When was that moment in time you guys sat down? Because obviously it's yourself and Matt Webley's business of Secret Wealth Project, Buybot Pro Fame, Profit Protector Pro, all of those amazing softwares when it comes to selling on Amazon. So when did you guys kind of sit down? And who came up with it first? What would talk us
Yeah.
through where it came from?
It's something Matt and Karen have mentioned before. They spoke about doing this years and years ago. And then it just didn't happen at the time. They obviously went down the software route. And then, yeah, Matt messaged me September, I think it was early September last year, and said, how'd you fancy opening a prep centre? And from there, it went very, very quickly. So it's like, yeah, okay, we could do.
Okay.
Within a week, we were looking at premises, and yeah, it all happened very, very fast. So I think it's something he's wanted to do for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the timing just felt right. I was in a position where I was ready to do something else as well. I don't want to just be sat at home
Yeah.
doing this and doing content. I wanted to be doing something physical.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I imagine I know your kids are how young is your
17,
youngest?
18 and 24.
Okay, so 17. It's you do, especially being a mum as well, and I think a lot of people will relate to this. Hearing it, it's really interesting when your kids go through a time where they grow up and they don't need you so much as well. It kind of leaves you in a position where you've dedicated so much of your time, 100% of your time, to being a mother. And and
Yeah.
nothing changes about your priorities about being a mother, obviously, or anything like that. But they start to leave you a bit, need you a bit less. And you kind of feel yourself in a position you're a bit like, oh, okay. I don't know if you had that where
I
you
think
sort
that's
of like,
exactly it. I mean, my youngest is about to do a driving test, and my eldest is about to move out. So it's like it's a lot of big changes. And
don't.
yeah, they don't need us anymore.
Mm,
They drive themselves places, they're going out, and we don't see them that much, to be fair. So it does leave me with a lot of time now where I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? I've been a mum for so long, and
yeah.
now kids don't really need me that much.
Yeah, it kind of hit me hard. I mean, my youngest, I mean, she's 8 at the weekend, so she's still a baby. I mean, she's still a baby, yeah, as far as I'm concerned. But my son, it was such a, I don't know if you've ever seen that meme or a TikTok video or something where it goes, the hardest transition from a mum is where they go from calling you mummy,
To
mum,
bruh.
mama, bruv,
Yeah,
and that hit us in about the last year. And
yeah.
that transition with my son, oh my God, it was like being stabbed in the heart, honestly. It knocked me for six, and it made me question a load of stuff in my life. And it made me think, okay, I've got to start um putting us forward, putting us a little bit more to the forefront of things. Obviously the kids, it goes without saying, hopefully I don't need to reiterate this. The kids will always be our top priority, but you have to start thinking about, you're not the center of their world anymore. They have to go off and find their own thing. So it really does think. And then I found myself feeling more ambitious than I've felt in years, thinking about that, they're knowing that they're not going to need us as much. So this was going to open up a whole new kind of chapter. So the timing was right for you, presumably.
Yeah, it just felt right. And I've got so much more time now. I'm not driving the kids everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but lots of big changes at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a business owner who is now juggling multiple streams of income, when you say lots of things going on, how does that work from you from a business point of view? Do you see that as exciting? Is it, are you worried? Is it a challenge? How do you feel about that?
It is very exciting. It can be a challenge. I do like a good challenge, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
some
why
days,
you opened the prep center.
yeah, there are days where you're just like, oh my God, I've got to work out how to do this. But the feeling of accomplishment when you've done it, and I love that. I do love a challenge. And yeah, I
Yeah.
don't quit on it.
No, excellent. Okay, so Cindy says perfect age to help prep. Great question. Have any of the kids started to come in and help prep?
My daughter did call in last week.
Okay.
Wasn't really much help. She just kind of wanted to stand there and just chat. But I'm
Maybe she
sure,
can do some like Instagram sort of
yeah.
stuff or be
I'm
helpful.
get trained up. They used to do a lot of my prep at home, to be fair. So they know.
Ah,
So you never
they're
know.
Yeah, no, that'll be good. Matt's joined us. Good to see you, Matt. Welcome. Debbie says, wait till it's mum, you can babysit. It all goes in a heartbeat. Yeah, I'm sure if they're in their 20s, that's not going to be too much further around the corner. Mark says, I'm already using Skewific. I couldn't resist the opening offer. Very interested in hearing more about Emma and Matt. The service is fantastic, and it has allowed me to I think he's cut off there, but outsourced or, going further ahead anyway. But we'll come on and talk about that a little bit more in the moment. So obviously, Matt rang you up. Let's start a prep center. You started looking. So what I would like to kind of talk about now, because you're at a point where obviously when you're looking for a warehouse, what were you looking for? Were you looking for something that you felt was going to get you through for a certain period of time, or did you have a plan that you wanted to be a certain size prep center from the start? What was that when you were looking at properties, or what was available?
I don't think we really knew for a start, to be honest. It's more what was available. Obviously, we're in Lincolnshire. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's not a lot around. So it was a case of what's available and traveling time as well. Obviously,
Yeah,
that's quite a thing. First unit we looked at was about 15 minutes in one direction from where I live. Perfect. The units weren't really big enough.
no,
Yes, we could move into a unit and we can upsize, but having to do that, it's a lot of hassle, having to move everything out. Second unit we looked at was absolutely perfect. 15 minutes in the opposite direction. It's actually between me and Matt, so perfect. If he wants to pop in and say hello, it's just down the road for him. And we were actually really, really lucky. They're brand new units. They were still building them when we viewed them. The only problem with that, because they were new, they gave us a completion date, and that just kept getting pushed back and back and back. And so we actually decided on the unit mid-September, so only 2 weeks after we said, let's go for it.
yeah.
And with a promised date of October, and as it was January before we got in, so properly in. So we've been in for about 8 weeks now.
So been in for about 8 weeks. Well, do you know what? Actually, in the world of warehouses and commercial leases and things like that's not too bad, to be perfectly honest. Most commercial leases can take anywhere up to about 6 months. In reality, I know people that have gone as long as 8 to 12 months to be able, especially if there's some sort of council interest involved. If there's something like that, presumably these are private ones. But if there is some sort of council interest involved, then that can take a lot longer. What was it that when you go? Have you ever gone through the process of like commercial leasing before, or anything like that? Was there anything that okay? I was going to say that's fine. But was there anything that surprised surprised you in the process? Because I think when it comes to commercial leasing, I think some people just think it's like renting a house or doing this, whereas there's lots of caveats and there's lots of variables, and lots of things are very much in favor of the landlord as opposed to the leasee.
Yeah, it did feel like there was a lot of red tape to get through as well. Even silly things like testing of fire extinguishers. You know, they want it written into the lease that they have to be done 6 monthly. In reality, you're probably going to do them yearly.
Mm-hmm.
Just lots of little silly things. But yeah, I mean, we got there. There was a lot to in and fro, and you know, us wanting things putting in there to cover our back as well. And thing is, when it is a brand new property, you've got to be careful. You know, they want it obviously returned in as new condition. But when you move in and things aren't quite right at the start, then but yeah, we've been really lucky actually. We've got very good landlords, and anything we want to do, they're quite happy for us to do it. But yeah, when it does come to things like the fire extinguishers, it felt it was a little bit unreasonable.
Yes.
But yeah,
That's
6 months is, you know.
That's really interesting, and it's all of these little things, and I always find it's like a little bit of a compounding effect, especially with commercial leasing, whereas it is so weighted heavily in the favor of the landlord. You know, most people are probably not aware that it's a fully repairing lease. So if anything goes wrong with that property in the period of time where you are responsible, i.e., in your lease period, then you have to pay for it. If the roof caves in, you got to pay for it. It's it's as simple as that.
Like that, you know, us querying the extinguishers, you know, just as an example, that can hold things up so long, you know, waiting for the landlord to go to the solicitor, and it just felt like we were never going to get in it. It really did feel like it dragged.
Yeah. Well, like I said, September to January is not too bad, and actually I understand obviously why you wanted to get in there probably a bit earlier, maybe catch a little bit of Q4, you know, that period of time. But I actually find with most people it's generally January's a pretty good time to be able to start that sort of business, because I think a lot of people make new decisions in their business after a Q4 period. You know, people don't really change prep centers in Q4 because, you know, if they're already with someone, or they don't tend to change services, they get their ducks in a row, you know, kind of ready before that. So, you know, I think January, new year, new me, new prep center, you know, that type of thing. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I think it was quite good it worked out that way, because Q4 would have been crazy. And it's been nice that we've been able to build up slowly, you know, to be sure we're giving that good customer service and turnaround time and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is it. You know, there is one of the things I always see when people ask for recommendations of prep centers, you know, recommendations for the cheapest prep center. Wow, really? Okay. Recommendations then for you to have lost prep, frustration, you know, all of these type of things. When it comes to a prep center, it has to be about service. Service over price. You know, there is no, I mean, obviously not paying like £2 a prep or something like that. But of course, you know, price has to be you know, reasonable. But when it comes to picking a prep center, it has to come down to service, because it you know, your prep center can make or break your business.
Definitely.
So, oh, I think Mark said, so annoying. The comments got cut off. Was meant to say, Skewific has allowed me to grow quicker than I would have been able to imaginable if I'd carried on prepping at home. That is so true when it comes down to it. When you are going through a period of scale or growth or scale, two different things when it comes to, you know, having an Amazon business. By not there is nothing that is going to be more time consuming than prep. You know, we've all been there. We've all been prepping boxes at 3 o'clock in the morning. Thankfully, that's been a while for me. You know, working out what's gone in what box, and you know, you've accidentally put I don't know, Buzz Lightyear in box 15 or something like that. We've all been there. We've all done that. And prep centers, in my opinion, are the best service when it comes to running your Amazon business, and the best decision that you can make when it comes to running an Amazon business as well. One thing I wanted to ask, Sylvia said there, do you have to get any sort of permit to do a business there? Sylvia's based in Germany, which is obviously they're a lot more stricter and that type of thing. So it's not necessarily a business or a permit license or anything like that, but generally when you take a commercial lease, your solicitor will do searches and, you know, just to ensure that everything's in place. But I take it from your point of view, it's more about ensuring you've got the health and safety, ensuring that you've got the right procedures in place and things like, you know, commercial insurance, etc., that type of things. Oh yeah, sorry, I realized there wasn't a question there. I don't know if you heard me.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, no, that's my fault. I do that sometimes. I just carry on talking. So yeah, it's more a case of that. So there wasn't anything extra that kind of needed to be done from that point of view.
It was actually really straightforward. Yeah, they made it as easy for us as possible, so we were very lucky.
Yeah,
even if it dragged.
Honestly, I was expecting you to come. I hear when it comes to commercial leases, I've got to be honest, we've always had really smooth commercial leases, but anyone else I seem to speak to doesn't. So it's nice to hear that there has been, you know, a good experience. What I will say was something I meant to pick up on earlier that you said, which I look at it from a different point of view, actually. So it's interesting that you said that. When you were talking about that it was a new property and obviously going into it, that would have been a massive benefit for me, knowing that it was a new property. And, you know, when you sign this sort of lease, that you have a fully repairing lease. But what was interesting, you picked up and you said, from a snagging point of view, if things hadn't been, I'd never thought of it. I'd never thought of it from that point of view, because you could really get caught out there.
I mean, it's only little things like, you know, the flooring wasn't quite right in one place, but we did, you know, it's just a case of going through, just doing little videos but yeah, just ensure that we're not responsible for anything that's, you know, already as it is.
I'm too compulsive. I would have signed it away and I've been like, yeah, Matt would have come in afterwards and been like, why did you sign that? Why did you do that? Now we're responsible for that. So it's good to hear. And that's reflective in what Matt has said there as well. Everything's gone out within 24 hours. Emma's super diligent on the prep. She deeply understands it, having been a seller for 6 years. Agreed service matter and a great price helps. Absolutely. Cindy says, how big is the prep? So obviously don't expect you to go into it exactly. Not sure if you missed when she was making a coffee. I think you sort of said it was big enough to grow into for a few years, something like that.
I think certainly for the year two, perhaps. There are more units close by. They're building more units within the complex where we are. So, you know, if we need to move next door as well, if we need to move into a bigger one, then we have got that option without having to move everything out, you know. So yeah, plenty of space.
Yeah, that's really interesting as well. And again, something I think gets overlooked when people talk about commercial leasing as well. A really great tip that Emma's mentioned there is when you are taking out somewhere, or if you are looking at somewhere, ask them what other properties that they have within their property portfolio. See, we have a similar thing. Our landlord owns quite a lot of properties, and they have always said to us, if you need a bigger place and it comes up, you know, you can break. And generally what will happen is they allow you to break the lease because you're moving into another one of their properties. Or, I mean, I can't testify that that's going to be the case for every single landlord, but you're more likely to be able to grow within your own, you know, landlord's businesses if they have more than one commercial property. And I think that, sorry, Karen.
So I was just saying the most difficult part of the whole, you know, moving into getting that property has been the communication between the landlords and solicitors. That's literally the most difficult part. We were really, really lucky. Aside from that, it was very simple.
Yeah. And I think, do you have, do they run it through an agent, or do you deal with the landlord direct now moving forward?
It was through an agent, but we deal with the landlord now. So yeah, going forward, it's quite simple. If we want to make any changes, then they are very good. And they're on site as well. So it's just a case of I give them a call and he pops over. So yeah, it's very very easy.
Yeah, these are the things that you've got to look for, guys. I mean, obviously, it's not always going to be the case. I mean, it actually sounds like you hit the warehouse lottery, to be perfectly honest, in terms of location, on-site landlord, all of the brand new property, option to move into. So, yeah.
Lucky. And then we had separate offices as well and staff room, which just ticked another box for us. So, yeah, love it.
So when everyone's cooking up their stinky pot noodles in like the microwave, the rest of the warehouse doesn't have to smell that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So now just to quickly say, Mark says in some cases, if my deliveries have arrived early enough in the morning, they've been turned around and picked up by UPS the same day. That's pretty rare nowadays when it comes to prep centers. So well done for that, guys, for sure. One of the things that I wanted to ask about, just Sylvia talking about being in Germany, everything has to be in writing, lots of red tape there. I think sometimes, we do moan about things that go on, there's lots of red tape, but when it comes to things like that, we're definitely not as strict as some other areas, especially in Europe and worldwide. We do have the ability to be able to, get into enterprise a lot easier than some other countries. Sorry. So, yeah, and again, Sylvia's saying good landlord is so critical. One thing I wanted to ask Emma is, we're actually coming to a period of time, and you must have seen it over social media. We're actually coming into a period of time due to, I don't know, retraction in the economy, recession, whatever you want to call it, that we're seeing a lot of, traditional kind of Amazon businesses, services, but in particular, prep centers that are actually closing down. We've seen that pretty much over the last sort of 6 to 12 months. When you guys were thinking about doing it, was that a concern? Did you see it more as, if they're closing, there's more opportunity here for us to open up? And the reason they were closing down, obviously, is costs have gone up so much in the world of prep, over the last couple of years. So what was your thought when you were thinking about that sort of stuff? Because presumably I would have thought that would have been a consideration.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really have any concerns as such. Obviously, with any business, you're going to go through all your costings and everything and be sure that you can make it work. You'd be stupid to go into a business blind. And this is where we're trying to get the balance of the low fees, whilst obviously still making money as a business. Yeah, we don't have any concerns about other prep centers closing. We're not worried for ourselves. If anything, hopefully that'll just be more business for us going forward.
Yeah.
And I think especially it just comes down to the service at the end of the day. If we're giving good service, then there's no reason why people wouldn't want, why people would move away.
Well, I always say, and I don't mean this, I really don't mean this disrespectfully to the guys that have gone out of business or have decided to close their doors, because I do understand we're talking about some businesses that maybe opened 5 years ago that have had to absorb so much over the last 5 years. Like Sean says, energy bills. I mean, ours has tripled, over the last. And I suppose one of the advantages starting that kind of business now is, what you're paying now, and it's probably going to be the maximum end of what you're going to be paying. The energy bills, I don't know, hopefully are going to come down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, where you are a little bit. So when I used to say a good prep center would never go out of business, because of the service. If you get your pricing right, if you get your service right, if you get your turnaround right, if you can get your communication right, then there's no reason why a good prep center should go out of business. But I don't think you can say that, with the unexpected price increases that we've seen across the board. So that's why I wanted to ask that question, whether or not it'd been consideration. But actually talking about it, like I said, you're at the highest possible end that it's probably gonna be. So again, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If you've worked out all your costs and everything based on that, obviously, of course. So what was when you talked about opening the prep center and then you got through all of the process of going through it, you got through the door, and you kind of, because I remember seeing the videos at the time, you know, the warehouse tour and everything like that. And you were like, right, okay, we've got to fill it now. So, you know, the process of doing that. And I know I've seen Matt's posts, I've seen your posts about it and talking about that kind of slow and steady
Mhm.
onboarding people, making sure people get the right sort of you know, service. Again, was that something that was very strategic at the start? You know, you didn't want to take too many people on at once, wanted to see how the whole processes worked.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Amazon prep, it's not new to me, but running a prep center is. You know,
Yeah.
I have had previous businesses where I ran a factory, I had 4 shops, I had 30, 40 staff. So again, the idea of running a business isn't new, but this business is.
Mhm.
Yeah, we didn't want to take on too many customers right at the start and find that we were so inundated that we couldn't give that good service level that we wanted to. So yeah,
Mhm.
we have been trying to build up slow and steady, and just increasing week on week with the amount of customers that we're taking on.
What was, when you first went into the prep center, was there anything like when you first got the keys, you walked in, were there things that you weren't expecting to have to do or have to buy? Because, you know, whatever size of a warehouse, you know, it a warehouse needs to be full with equipment, racking, desks, computers, you know, all of the, were there anything hidden? Was there any surprises that you hadn't taken into account?
I don't think so. I think we had so long between when we first decided to open it up and when we got the keys. Me and Matt really sat down and we did a really thorough list of absolutely everything we'd need, even through to things in the staff room, you know, a sofa and chairs and tables for the staff to sit, to have their lunch. Yeah, I think we were actually really organized and we had most stuff that we needed. It's just still okay. We're still getting units in now. We're still getting more prep benches. So it's still going to take a few weeks to get it exactly how we want it.
Are the prep benches, are they kind of like mid-level height so no one hurts their back?
Yeah, yeah. I do love that it's got the all the bubble wrap and the papers all on there. So I'm not going to move anywhere. I've got a poly bag. Everything is right in front of us. So it's yeah, I do love the setup.
So I do see people, funnily enough, it's something that we never did. It's something never occurred to us. But I know a lot of people really go in and they talk about, and we talk about this. It's actually Johnny talks about this, and Matt Wright talks about this in the Hive. You talk about um, the flow of the warehouse, the flow
Mhm.
of the warehouse, and things coming in and things going out. Whereas I'm like, you open the door, the stuff comes in, it goes there, you put something out. But did you spend some time looking into that as well? It's like, I don't know what to call it, like warehouse strategy flow or something like that.
Why we didn't want to get the racking in place to start with, because I said
Yeah.
to Matt, I feel like this is how I want it set out, but until I get going, until I have a few weeks of really working with it, it might be that I say, actually, that needs to move. And once that racking's in place, it's not moving. So, but yeah, I think actually the way I had it in my head it's worked perfect. So yeah.
Ah, that's good to hear. I think that experience coming in, like you said, of having that industrial experience of working in a factory,
Yeah.
managing the staff. And this is what I love about this type of business. You may not have run this exact type of business before. This is why everyone should have as much. Sorry, I was just laughing at Cindy's comment. Warehouse feng shui, definitely. You know, you're able to, if you're an adaptive, diligent kind of person, which obviously it very much sounds like you are, then you know, you can adapt your previous experience into running a new type of business moving forward. And I find
Yeah.
that really exciting to be able to use previous skills that you may have thought, I don't know, maybe I'm never going to need these ever again. You know, and it's nice to be able to draw upon those previous experiences,
I mean,
isn't it?
it was been 20 years ago that I had the factory. So it's quite nice again to just be back in that kind of environment. And yeah, I do quite enjoy it. I'm probably one of the few people that says that they love prepping.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's definitely not for me. I'm not allowed anywhere near prep. You know, I've proved myself more than incapable of prepping on many occasions. So I very much admire people that do enjoy it as well. And I know you've always said that actually, because I've seen you say that in your group, and I've seen you say that over the years. So yeah, absolutely, it's good to hear. I love that you love prep. Someone's put that. I'm sorry, the comments are a little bit delayed. That's come into that. So someone's got to love prep. That's why I titled this video, "Do you love prep?" But who loves prep here? Actually, that's a really good question to ask. Who loves prep here? I know I don't. I'm definitely on the no side when it comes to that. You love prepping, because I certainly don't. Oh, that's Mark that said that. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. So what now that you're in the warehouse, now that you're doing it, now that you're servicing some clients, has there been what have you enjoyed about the process as much so far? Has it been because lots of people love setting up businesses, but when it comes to running them, then it's like, oh, actually, I don't really want to run it. What have you enjoyed the most at the start of this process?
I did really enjoy setting it up. Just even going out and buying everything and deciding exactly where I wanted it, how, I had in my mind how I wanted it, and that's exactly how it is. I think the biggest thing though, it's the customer service side for me. I've been in customer services for 25 plus years. That's the main thing that I do and I love. And although I do love the prep and I am out there and I am doing some prepping, for me, it's the customers. It's having that one-on-one, give them the good customer service, and building a relationship with them as well. We've got some great customers, and yeah, Mark being one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the I could be wrong, so don't shoot me down if I say this, but I think personally, it's if you are a customer centric person, customer service driven centric person, there is no better business to run, in this kind of Amazon space. Maybe, obviously software is quite similar as well. That you have the opportunity to have that level of customer contact with people, and to be able to deliver such a great service for something that a lot of people don't like doing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of the most rewarding. And I think once it's like I would say, with prep centers like hairdressers, once you get a good hairdresser, you don't move. Once you get a good prep center, you don't move. You tend to stay for life. So once you have and find your customer base, and likewise for you guys, once you find these guys, it becomes a very tight relationship and very central to the success of someone's businesses, and that's very rewarding.
Yeah. And for me as well, it's rewarding. At the end of the day, when UPS turns up and I've told him there's 10 boxes and he's picking up 20 and he's giving me the look. But it's that for me, I love it when it's all prepped and it's all gone out, knowing that customer's business is growing, it's moving forward because we've done that prep for them.
Yeah, I think so. And I just love your attitude when it comes to this, because I've got to be honest, many moons ago we had Easy Prep, we had the prep center back then. And what was interesting is actually one of the things that Matt didn't like about it was he didn't like the fact that he always felt that it was a job never done, because then you would start the same process again. It was, he couldn't get that level of reward out of it, to be perfectly honest, because he felt that it would be like a little bit of a groundhog day, in the sense that yes, you would get them out at the end of the day and that was great, but then you'd have to restart that the next day. So obviously you don't have that. It is very much that compounding effect.
Yeah, no, I do quite like that. When you walk in and you've got all the boxes and you know that it's all going to be clear by the end of the day, because although we're saying 72 hours, we are turning everything around in 24 at the minute. But yeah, I do find it quite rewarding. Maybe I'm just a bit weird.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it, because I think overall, and you strike me as a very customer centric person, and that just that one box, maybe for that one person's business, is going to bring them, some growth. It's going to bring them something good in that business. And if you can look at it at that level, for me, that's enough reward to be able to give you that motivation to be able to continue going, for sure.
Yeah, I think as well, just that, by me doing that prep, they're not having to, you know, they've got that time to spend with their family, so they're making money, they're getting their time back, and yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I genuinely believe there is no service that anybody can offer in this space that will change someone's business as much as prep service. I just don't see. Yes, VAs. Yes, you can outsource your sourcing. Yes, you can have softwares for certain things, but nothing will change your business for the amount of money that it costs. Interestingly, as well, it is a real, for anyone that's thinking about this, one of the things, you know, if you're in that position where you're the bedroom bandit and you're prepping from home, and maybe you're finding yourself in a position where, you know, the business has stayed the same sort of level for a certain period of time, it really comes down to you're probably stagnating a bit in your business, and you do not have the physical time to be able to go out and grow your business because you're too busy prepping in your business. So then taking that into account, you really have to sit down. It becomes time versus money. Yes, it's not cheap to prep, it's an upfront cost, and you have to pay the same level of cost whether you sell that unit or not. You have to, there's no doubt about that. But you also have to spend some time working out how much your time is worth and how much more that could be diverted into you know, growing your business. I really don't think prep is the only thing that costs you money in your business, in my opinion, by self-prepping.
Mhm.
Sorry, there's a lot of chat going on in
Mhm.
the comments there. So I'll just have a quick scan, see if there are questions. I think they're more. Oh, I think Mark was asking about, yeah, this actually, a lot of people might not realize this, was asking about how many boxes that you pre-book. Basically, just tell porkies, right?
Yeah, so in the morning, I guess how many boxes, I have to guess the weight, and most of the time I've got double what I tell him. But we have got a really good relationship with the UPS guy, and I've said to him, "Is it a problem if I have extra?" And he said, "Look, as long as I've got room on the van, you know,
Yeah.
it's send as much as you like." We get the odd one who's maybe covering, who's a bit like put out, but in general, they're very, very good.
Honestly, this takes me back. It really, really does, to the people, the UPS guys we used to have. It was like a Forrest Gump box of chocolates. You never knew what you're gonna get. You get your regular guys, and the people that you build relationships with. But we for a period of time, we had one guy that just hated his job, hated his life, hated everything about what he was doing, and it didn't make me laugh, but you know what I mean. It makes me laugh thinking about it now.
That one.
But yeah, it did make me laugh, for sure. Sorry, I'm just gonna pop that there, and I'm gonna let you answer it while I just cough away in the background.
Okay, yeah. So we do bundles. We for the price included, so it's 50 pence a unit. That includes obviously your poly bags, your bubble wrap, the labeling, everything, and bundles up to 3 units. So anything over the 3 units, you pay 10p an item. So obviously, if you've got 4 units, you pay the 50p plus the 10p. But yeah, we can do bundles. We can do unique bundles. That's no problem at all.
So if you had, say, unique item of 6 bundles, sorry, 6 items in the bundle, that would be 60p.
80
No,
pence because it was
80p.
50.
Oh my god, sorry, yeah, 80p.
Yeah,
Sorry.
basically, yeah, and then 10 pence an item over that.
Okay, that's a really good way of looking at it, actually. I've not seen anyone price it like that
It
before.
is up to 3 items, and that's included in the price. So that is just a set price. We don't have any extras on top. So if you need a poly bag, you need bubble wrap in, it's that set amount regardless.
Yeah, okay. Well, that works quite well, guys, because remember, you know what I teach, guys? Generally, don't go above 6 items within your unique bundle, because then the world starts getting a very complicated place once you do that. So that's good to know for sure. Someone says, Sean says Lincoln's got a UPS depot too. Okay, talk us through that actually, because obviously your turnaround times are speedy quick at the moment. So you've got a
Mhm.
UPS depot. So do you think that has an impact in terms of time into Amazon as well? Do you think it's
I
quicker? Have
think,
you been
yeah,
experiencing that?
it perhaps does make a big difference. Yeah, it's quite handy having a depot quite close by because it's literally we're only probably a 10-15 minute drive from Lincoln.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting actually, because I know a few other prep centers around that do use that as a selling benefit, that they're near a certain hub or a
Yeah.
big Amazon thing or something like that. And it does tend to speed the process a little bit. I don't know if you can give away this information, so tell me to shut up if that's right. If you can't give that information. But do you generally find that you go to a single hub or lots of different places when it comes to shipments being created for different sellers? Does it all generally go to a centralized hub, or are you going to different sort of fulfillment
No,
centers?
I'll go into a lot of different ones, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. One thing I did read about that you guys were doing is, do you have your own software as well for the prep center?
We've got software. It's not one that we've created. But yeah, so you've got your own dashboard. So all the customer needs to do is fill out an inbound shipment, tell us exactly what's coming in, and then from there we do everything else. So it will tell them what their inventory is within the warehouse, what's on the way to Amazon, and then we create all the shipments for them as well. So once that shipment is sent to us, they don't need to do anything else.
Oh, wow. Okay. So literally talk us through the process. So somebody adds it onto presumably the dashboard, and then it gets put in the system, and then you create the shipment, or just
So the
I've been
software
out of
connects
prep for a long time.
the software connects to their Amazon account, so it'll pull all the
Mhm.
inventory across. So then when they want to create an inbound shipment, it's just a case of going through, checking all the items that they want to add to that shipment, telling us quantities, and then marking it as shipped. When it arrives with us, it gets checked in. We let them know on the system that it's arrived. So obviously their dashboard will tell them how many items they've got within the warehouse. And then, yeah, from there, we create the outbound shipment. So in general, we say we wait until you've got a full box or a minimum, however many items they say. Obviously, we do say we turn around within 72 hours, but some customers will say, can you keep hold of that stock a little bit longer, because
Of
they
course.
want to make it worthwhile sending the box in. So we'll create that shipment. We then connect to their Amazon account again to, so the shipment and everything is done through Amazon, just as if you did it normally. So you'd be charged through your Amazon account. But yeah, it's as simple as that. They don't need to do anything once that shipment's been sent. We take care of everything for them. If any items arrive and anything's damaged, then we've got a fix items tab where we can just upload a photo and just say to them, what do you want us to do with this stock? So it is all very easy. It's really, really simple to use.
Yeah, excellent. Wow, that sounds great. It sounds really, really super helpful to be able to have that centralized all in one place. I was going to ask actually, just to pick up on something that people talk, maybe a little bit of a misunderstanding or something like that, because people, again, if you say you'll turn around 72 hours and they send like one pack of Bisto in or something like that, obviously you guys have got to be aware that there is, you're not going to send one pack of Bisto in, is it? You
Yeah.
generally, is it 72 hours from the time someone's got like a full box or something like that, or whatever they decide?
Understand each customer. I do have one customer that did ask the question, I've got 8 items, why haven't they been sent in yet?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And in that case, he wants them sending in as soon as they arrive, which is fine. We know they get sent straight out. But for another customer to send in 8 items would just not be feasible. It wouldn't be worth it financially. So once they set their account up, we just get an idea from them. How many units do you want to send as a minimum? Or do you want to wait till we got a box full?
Yeah, excellent. That makes sense, guys. Make sure you work out your prep and your cost when you're doing that. Another tip I wanted to give, guys, and this is if you're in that transition period. I'm talking about that transition period from self prep to prep, not any other type, before anyone says anything. Maybe if you start thinking about if a prep center is somewhere in your future, start adding a prep fee into your costs now so you can absorb that when the transition occurs, because I think that's something everyone's like, oh, 50p a unit, that's fine. But sometimes because it's an upfront payment, you have to make that payment whether or not you sell the product before you're probably likely going to have to settle that invoice before the product is sold. So therefore, people don't factor in the costs, and it can come as a little bit of surprise. Do you invoice per shipment? Is it once a month? You know, what's the process from that point of
It's
view?
per shipment. So when the shipment's ready, we send the invoice over, and that invoice is payable immediately, and then the shipment gets sent out. Obviously, if we've got a few bigger customers, it could be that if you're sending a shipment out, you know, multiple shipments a day, and it's just, again, it's time consuming to pay those invoices, then perhaps we can look at a weekly invoice or a bi-weekly. But as standard, it is per shipment.
I honestly think that's the best way to do it. I think it's best for you
For the
as a
customer,
labor intensive business, and it's best for the customer.
they know exactly where they're at with it
Yeah,
all.
absolutely. There's nothing worse than getting, you know, a £2,000 bill that I was going to say you weren't expecting, because obviously, you know, if you've sent 4,000 units of 50p a cost, you're going to get a £2,000 bill. But
Yeah.
when it comes and when it hits, especially when if you've just bought a load of stock and maybe you're having a quiet time in the month or something like that, then it's definitely better to stay on top of those prep costs. So I think it's really, you know, nice and good to hear that you do that, because I really do think that takes into account, you know, working from a customer point of view for sure. Mark said, did exactly what Natalie said, factored in £1 prep right from day one. So it's actually better off than I predicted. Brilliant. Good to hear. And you're not doing it yourself. So you're not only financially better off, physically better off as well, and time richer, which is the most important thing. Simon says our shipments have been delivered and checked in quicker too. Going via Lincoln UPS depot, we found Hellaby UPS to be a lot slower, especially to LBA4. There we go. Karina has said, is there a membership fee? So yeah, I mean, we're coming to that point now. I mean, doesn't time fly when you're having fun talking about the exciting world of prep? So we are coming to that time. So I don't know if you want to use the opportunity now. We always call it shameless plug time, where you talk about if people do want to get in contact, if they do want to consider you guys for Prep Center, where can they find you, and just talk about, because I know you guys have got a, you know, kind of like an opening special offer at the moment. So if you could let us know a bit more about that, it'd be great.
So this is only actually on until the end of the month. So the membership fee at the moment is £9.95,
Nice.
and that gets you your units at 50p a unit. Obviously, if you to pay that normally, you'd be having to be on the £49.95 month plan. So yeah, £9.95, and that price is locked in until at least the end of the year. We're not looking at increasing the prices as we head into Q4. So yeah, so £9.95 a membership fee, 50p for each unit. But as I said before, that includes absolutely everything. So we're going to inspect, we're going to, you know, do the FNSKU labels, the polybagging, the labeling, any bubble wrap, just as I would if it was, you know, a shipment I was sending myself. Matt always makes fun of me for over prep. You know, he says to me, Matt always tells me how much I love sellotape, but I want those items to arrive, you know, with Amazon in the way that I would expect to receive them myself. If I was placing an order, so, you know, that's how I want to send them out. So yeah, I do use a little bit too much sellotape, but it's all prepped well.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
so yeah, 50p a unit. That is only until the end of the month though. And that gets you, again, your bundles up to 3 units. Anything over the 3 units, you've then got 10p additional fee. And as well, we say turnaround of 72 hours. If for any reason we don't get it out within that 72 hours, which I'm hoping will never happen, then you don't pay anything for the prep at all. It's completely free.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, hopefully that won't happen. But if it does, then, you know, that's just our way of saying sorry. But no, we don't intend shipments to take any longer than 48 hours really. At the minute, everything is out within 24 hours, but obviously as we head into Q4, that's maybe not going to be possible all the time, but we will certainly do our best.
And as if by magic, our lovely Cindy has put up the website there. Presumably, is that the best way for anyone to get in contact?
Yeah, so the offer, we've only got the one price plan at the minute, so we've got that opening offer on that page. If you need anything else, you can email us at info@squific.com. You can add me on Facebook, Messenger, any way you want to contact us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got the Facebook page, obviously, Matt's Facebook page as well, which is Amazon Arborversity. Yourself is Destination FBA as
Yep.
well. You're on all the channels, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. So if they can't find you, then you probably can't help them, to be honest, to be fair.
Yep.
You're everywhere. Well, do you know what? It's been a pleasure, Emma, and I really hope you'll come back a bit later in the year and let us know how it's getting on. Once the warehouse is full, and and let's see how much. And hopefully, you'll still love prep at that moment in time.
As we head into Q4.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Do you know what? I think what's really interesting is I think if after doing it for 6, 7 years, doing it yourself, building a thriving Amazon business yourself, just because you do more of it and you sound like an absolutely very process driven person. So I can see why it definitely floats your boat. For sure. So when you're a bit like I am, it definitely doesn't work for me. Again, Cindy, thanks for that. Really appreciate it. I think there's just a little bit of chat going on there. So thank you so much. Okay, that's actually just before we go, Simon. Thank you for that. That was going to ask. So reuse of boxes, new box versus new boxes, because most places. I'll let you answer that.
Okay, so the boxes, they're £3 a box, but that's regardless of the size. Someone did ask me this question earlier. So if they've got oversized units, it's still only £3. But if the boxes come in and we can reuse them, then we will, and that'll obviously be taken off your invoice. So yeah, we've got to be careful with space. Eventually we're not going to be able to store no end of boxes, but if your stock's coming in, we're getting it prepped straight back out again, then there's absolutely no reason why we can't use that same box, so long as it's double-sided. The problem there, it's double-walled. If stock is coming in single-walled boxes, we won't reuse them because we don't want to risk that stock being damaged in transit. It's just not worth it.
Those Disney store boxes can definitely not be reused, guys. They are thinner than a bit of tissue paper. So it has to be a good box for sure. Just a final question coming in there. Adele says, can I sign up for the $9.95 even though I'm not planning on sending units to you for a couple of months? That sounds like a good deal.
You can, yeah. You can lock in that price now. Yeah, you've only got till the end of the month, so
sounds like a really smart thing to do, guys, to be able to do that for sure. Emma, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure catching up for you. It's been a while since we've spoken, so it's really good to catch up. I'm so pleased that you are enjoying this business so much. And, I've got no doubts whatsoever that this is going to be a massive success for you and Matt, and look forward to having you guys come back on and talking about how it's going maybe in 6 months time, maybe I was going to say just before Q4. Geez, I've uttered the Q4 word again. So just want to wish you guys all the best with that. And it's really great to have you guys on there. And for anyone that wants to contact you, like I said, the lovely Cindy has put all of the contact details up there. So really appreciate that. Guys, just from my point of view, obviously most of you will probably know I've been a bit under the weather the last few weeks. I've spoken to the guys, Matt and Johnny, and I'm actually going to be having a bit of a hiatus away from Beyond the Buy Box and a few of the other things. So this is going to be me. It's going to be Matt, Johnny, and various different guests over the next few weeks. I'm probably not going to be back till sometime in May, something like that. So I just wanted to let everybody know that you're not going to be seeing this for a little while. But I'm sure you'll all be pleased about that for sure. So any questions, as always, keep posting them in the group. And if you guys do want to seriously take on that time versus money versus output, versus all these things about growing your business, you seriously want to consider getting in contact with these guys, because like I said, nothing's probably going to make a bigger impact for your business than transitioning out that prep. Emma, thanks so much. Thanks everyone for watching, guys. Have a great week. The guys will be back this time next week. I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.